What's up, guys? Today we're going to install some aftermarket camshafts in my B20B engine. Now first, maybe you guys can tell me, because I've never used aftermarket cams before. Does installing a set of untuned cams, an upgraded set of untuned cams, make a difference in power? And so I want to try to find out today. That's the purpose of this video. I just want to see if we can noticeably see the difference if the car is now making more power, the same power, or maybe it actually lost power, because I've read with some cams you'll install them and then you might lose some torque but gain a little top end horsepower. I think it really depends on the set that you're using. So let's get out of the house and do some real world testing today.
First 20?
Yeah.
Alright.
You want to honk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do like a second, maybe like 30.
Okay.
We'll try it.
Alright.
That was a good one. At the end, I was at 5th gear at 7,000. I was done. That was it. Let's go back to another first gear 20.
First 20?
Since you got me on that one.
Alright.
Well, it would help if I could hit second gear. Let's go again.
Alright.
Maybe I went a little early.
Huh?
Maybe I went a little early.
Nah. Nah.
Just got it?
Yeah.
Which one? Want to do one more?
Yeah.
One more and we'll roll out.
Okay.
When we leave, just pull into the parking lot again. I'll dismount and turn everything off.
Okay. You want to do like a 30 in first gear? Or you can't make that one?
I could probably do it.
Okay.
Let's try it.
Alright. much for just
And so there's that. That's my stock B20B, just bolt-ons, not tuned, OBD1, against my friend Sean. Sean, thanks for coming out, man. He has that 8th gen Civic Si bone stock, so we figured the power to weight ratio on both cars would be relatively similar, and as you can see by the races, it's not a huge discrepancy. So hopefully next time, that very first pull when I was right there, I should be able to hopefully pull a little bit more. That's the guess with installing these cams untuned. And these are the parts that we're installing. Got a used set of Crowder cams. These are the 62 403s. So they're stage 2. Picked them up from a guy in Phoenix maybe a year ago. Thanks again, Eric. He sold these to me at a really good price. I've been sitting on them for a while, I just haven't had the time, nor have I wanted to install them. I just wanted to keep driving the car and trying to get better and faster, which I have. Now I figured maybe adding a little bit more power would be a good thing. Picked up some, these are the Crowers. These are the chromoly steel, the dual valve springs and the retainers. If you're interested, part number on that is right there. Got these brand new from O-Star Motorsports. And then set of Skunk 2 cam gears. Now I'm not gonna set these anywhere, we're gonna leave them the stock setting. But I'm putting those on there with the intention of hopefully being able to get the car tuned in the future, possibly before next season starts. That way we can maybe make, I want to get this car at the threshold of the power that I can make, which is about 158, I believe it was. Right there in the high 150s, so that way I'm at the brink of A and B class, where that's usually the goal. You want to try to make as much power as your weight will allow. And so after getting these installed, I'm going to see how it goes by getting a couple more runs in against Sean. He's down to get out there and do a little bit more testing, which I think is a lot of fun. It's kind of neat seeing the difference in power just from doing those actually races. Like, if we could take it to the dyno, it would be a lot more expensive though for me to do a dyno before and after. I figure there's not really any point. Like, we'll be able to tell by running a couple times, and it'll just be a hell of a lot more fun for sure. Now let me get started, guys. I'm excited. I'm also a little nervous. Like, it would be kind of funny if I put him in and the car's slower. I hope that's not the case, and I'm imagining it shouldn't be, and I'm hoping I don't encounter any issues. But I'm also not going to do a DIY on this particular setup, because I did in the past when I put this head back together on this particular motor. I did a complete head removal and head installation. If you want, I'll put the head installation video right here in the corner. You can click that. That'll give you an idea of how to basically reinstall cams, set the valve adjustment, and anything else that goes along the way, like putting the timing belt on and so forth. Don't feel like I need to repeat the video, and I just like doing that. I don't want to clutter my channel with a lot of the videos, the same thing over and over. Alright, so I got the cams removed. When putting all that apart, I like to set everything in a little order. Now, you could essentially mix these up, because We're going to go ahead and redo the valve adjustment when we reinstall anything anyway, but I still like to leave them set aside in the particular order that they came out of. When I was removing these, the exhaust side came out a lot easier than the intake side. Now when you see me prying at it or like tapping on it, I am not doing it by any means hard at all. I'm not trying to scratch up the surface of where the valve cover gasket meets or any of these other areas, so I'm not trying to ding it up really bad. And when I was using the butt of the hammer, I was just trying to wiggle it loose because the dowel pins that slide in there, they keep it a little tight. So as you can see, this dowel pin actually stayed inside of the cylinder head, but I'm by no means hitting them difficult at all. And the cam seals come out, but I have 2 brand new ones I'm putting on along with the valve cover gasket. I don't like reusing them because it starts leaking. It's just a pain in the butt to mess with. So let me attempt. I'm going to start swapping out all of these valve springs and retainers, which is by far the my least favorite part of doing this job. And here's a small comparison between the two. As you can see, that one was really easy to get off. It's just time consuming doing all of them. So I'm going to get this one installed real quick. Then I'm going to stop recording. I'll just finish up all the rest and then I'll pick up back once I get all the springs swapped out. And one thing I can't stress enough is I always throw 2 magnets in them because when that spring pops, these things like to shoot out. The last thing you want is one of those shooting down one of the little oil tubes down into the bottom of the engine and into the oil pan. So just to be safe, the one that it comes with, this is a really strong magnet. I just dip both in there and catch both of those so that way I don't have to worry about losing any of them. There we go, number 1 is down. And that sped up video, I looked at the time, it took me 3 minutes and 21 seconds. So add that up, all there, maybe sometimes a little longer. It's just kind of a pain in the butt because it's like playing a game operation. I like to use the needle nose, kind of lay them in there and I keep the magnet close and then I line them up, and then as I'm lifting the spring, you may have saw that I put the screwdriver in the side, and that was to center it so it slid up right around the keeper and retainer. So I'm going to finish those off, guys. All of the valve springs went off without a hitch. That is done. Now I'm going to go clean off all the old RTV that is surrounding anywhere here. And then we're going to reinstall the cams. Of course, put all of the cam holders back on, torque them down, apply the RTV, get the belt on, and then once I get the belt on, I'm going to go ahead and do the valve adjustment. Then we're going to let it sit overnight so we can get out here first thing in the morning, hopefully get it started. Okay, everything's bolted up, guys. Cam gears are on. Everything's torqued down to spec. Timing is set where it needs to be. Now I need to do a valve adjustment. It's getting a little late in the day, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to record this next process. I don't know if on camera is going to pick it up. And a valve adjustment's pretty straightforward. I do want to finish it tonight, though. That way I can get the valve cover put back on, put the RTV in the corners, and let it sit overnight before attempting to start it tomorrow. Alright, valve adjustment's done. Let's get the valve cover put on and let's wrap it up for the night. And that's it, dudes. Man, I'm anxious to start it. I want to hear it. I want to make sure the valves are properly adjusted. Hoping I don't have to get in there. I'm usually pretty anal about tightening the valves a certain way. Same as when I put this engine back together for the first time. Just because I want to avoid having to readjust them. So, yeah, it's difficult to not want to start it right now. I want to hear it and check it out. But we'll see you guys out here tomorrow morning. Small spin, cruise around the block, warmed it up. It's actually even a little low, a little choppy. I'm gonna need to mess with it and see if I can get it to smooth out. And unfortunately, you can see it in there. Something's leaking, maybe when I put the valve cover on. So I got a pretty heavy oil leak there. The valves sound a little loud also. So I'm gonna kill it right now, pull the valve cover, try to find the oil leak, and let it cool down. Maybe it'll be cool enough later on today I can go ahead and readjust the valves. Alright guys, we're back out here. It's a few days later, had to work over the weekend, and after I drove it for the first time, it was making a lot of noise over here on the cam gear side. So last night I got out here and I started it because I wanted to make sure if I needed to adjust the valves or anything today. It was completely cold when I got outside. So I came out last night. I'm going to include that video right here. So if you look, I had my digital thermometer, and not even after a minute of starting it, if you notice right in this area, it was like 100 degrees on this particular part. And over here it was like 50 degrees, 55 degrees. So there's something, I'm imagining something's rubbing on the inside of the valve cover itself. I don't know if it's the bolt or the cam gear. I'm going to pull it off and inspect it. I did torque the cam gears down when I put them on. And then even those little bolts that hold the cam gears in place, so for the adjustment, I tightened those up, probably more than what I read online should have been. So I'm going to double check and see if those are loose right now, and I'm just going to recheck my valves. I had double checked them the other day and they seem to be a little tight, so I went ahead and readjusted them. So we'll see how everything looks right now when we get the valve cover pulled. And yep, that was it guys. These little Allen head bolts, maybe you can kind of see the scratches there. This one as well, you can see them on the side and a little bit there, so it's not much, but it was barely catching. And look at the valve cover, you can see exactly where it was rubbing, generating that heat. So obviously I could have left it on there and it could have ground it down more, and that's actually pretty significant. I can feel it pretty well. So I wanted to cut the valve cover, wanted to find a way to get it cut really nicely. So I think it's probably smarter to do so maybe now. I guess that'll give me a good area of indication where I can cut it, and then maybe cut this one here and just leave them open. Okay. Now I have to clean up all those shavings. It's gonna be a pain in the ass, but need to be done. Okay, so I finished up the valve cover. Got it smoothed out really well with my grinder. Same with the plastic cover. I went ahead and cleaned it. I spent the last 15 minutes cleaning it with some carb cleaner, trying to get any of the shavings out. And now I just finished checking some of the valve clearances. I'm going to show you really quick how I go about checking those. Okay, so 3 is the last cylinder I need to check. Depending on your specs, you're going to need the appropriate size. On this particular cam, it's 0.006, and then I always like to go up a size, 0.007. So slide the appropriate size in there, check it, feels really good. Very slight drag, but minimal on both sides. And then I like to try putting in the larger size. Obviously I can't, it doesn't go in at all. I can't even try forcing it in. So both sides, same. And then let's go to the opposite side on this particular cam, 0.008. And on that one as well. Feels really good. And then try the size larger, 0.009. Same. And I'm trying to like force it in, but it does not fit. And so in doing that, they were all good to go. I was having an issue. I swear I did the valve lash 3 times because I thought maybe I was doing it incorrectly. And it was that darn cam gear making all that noise over here, and I thought maybe I just wasn't adjusting the first cylinder correctly, but I'm starting to doubt myself in my work. It was obviously fine from the beginning, and I want to thank the guy that sold me the cams. His name is Eric. Also a guy on Instagram, Eric H2B. He was talking to me last night. I was kind of just mentioning what may have been the problem, and after I was talking to him, I was like, let me come outside and just listen to it again. That way I could start it up and then work on it today. It needed to be cold. And that's when I heard it, and I had my hand here. That's when I felt that heat on this particular side of the valve cover. So glad I figured that out. All right, guys, let's start it up. Alright guys, I just got back. I'm going to talk over the motor running. I just want to hear it still. Maybe you can hear it on camera. Valve lash sounds perfectly normal. Nothing weird any longer. Obviously that noise is gone because the bolts are no longer rubbing on the cover. So I was really nervous about that. I was potentially thinking maybe I had a faulty cam gear, or maybe the cam was messed up, being that it was a used cam, but that doesn't seem to be the issue. Everything's running perfectly fine. Took it for a drive and hadn't had no issues, nothing leaking, so I'm excited about that. I think it's ready to go now. I'm just gonna get Sean out here. We can get a couple runs in and we can finish off this video and see if there's a difference with just dropping in these cams. What, we're gonna do another first 20?
Yeah.
Okay. You gotta honk though.
Okay.
I guess that made a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Because last time, remember in fifth, you were just fucking pulling on me at the end.
Yeah.
Which one this time?
How about you choose?
Let's do a second gear.
Okay.
Like a second 30. Let's try that.
Okay.
Okay. First 20 is our best.
Yeah.
Because in my second gear, like I have a lot of torque, so it just pulls this little ass car. Let's do one more.
Alright, 20?
Yeah.
Alright.
say, what gear does your car feel strong in?
First. That's
Yeah?
it.
That's your best? You want to try it at a higher speed in first?
You want to try 25?
Let's try that.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so we just got back. And what did you guys think of the pulls? I think that first run was the best indicator. You could noticeably see the difference. If you go back to the first race, that first one, it's a first gear 20 pull. He got ahead of me a little bit, and you kind of see how I just couldn't hang and I kind of started losing ground. But in this last race, well, in the first race of this video, I was right there and I actually started pulling on him. So obviously the car's making more power, at least at the top end. When I was looking up these cams, looking up the part numbers, there's a lot of old threads like on Honda Tech and a handful of forums where you can see that people showed, and unfortunately the links aren't there for the pictures, but you can just read about it. Seems to be these cams are less, you make less power between like 4 and 5 grand on the RPM range, but from like 52 to redline they make a considerable amount more of power. So that might be where it helps the most, and it looked like people that were doing it as well when they got the car dyno tuned, they're having the tuners flatten out the dip in power so that way it's just a progressive amount of power throughout. So I think once I get this car tuned, now have the cam gears on, get that Honda data put in, hopefully we can make a little bit more power and have it just running super strong. It already feels a little better, and it was fun racing Sean. That was really cool out there. And it was cool being able to see the difference from the first time to this last time. And as you can see, I topped it out, hit 5th gear, I bounced off the rev limiter a couple times. That was it. I can only do about 120 miles an hour with this transmission and engine setup. So hope you guys liked that. I think it was really cool to see the difference from before and after. And that'll be it for today's video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today's content. This video was actually a lot of fun making. Hopefully you guys learned something new today, maybe just really enjoyable content, and it's always cool seeing what a particular mod can do, because like when we put an intake manifold on or a throttle body, some cams, it's really hard to determine if it's doing anything and in terms of making a lot more power, but essentially easy to see today, and now I can only hopefully make a little bit more power in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.